Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Project Ozone 3 Kappa mode. Oh, yeah. So today, guys, what I would like to do is I would like to start automating our pressure chamber. Yep, I think that's going to help us unlock future automations. And yeah, I was kind of thinking about this a little bit and how we wanted to automate this. And I know in the past, we've used things like an item collector to extract items from inside the pressure chamber. That's no longer a thing that you can do. I was just playing around with this just to see like what options are available. Like if we put glowstone in here, you can see there's glowstone, but there's no way for us to extract that. Like if we turn on our magnet, it won't come out. If we put an item dislocator here to try and extract out of the thing. Yeah, the item isn't just like sitting in there. It's like in an internal inventory and it's just being displayed. So that item we can't just extract out. So I think the only way for us to do this is for us to automate the pressure chamber interfaces. I think. I was kind of looking. So like transistor is an item that we want to automate, right? And that's pretty simple. Like we could set an interface to always extract transistors when they're available, set the redstone mode to always active, and have the item filter specifically for this item, and then I'll always try and pull those items out when they're available. If we go to the pressure chamber, this shows all the items that are craftable in the pressure chamber. So we can turn iron into compressed iron. That might be an interface that we're going to want. We can do iron blocks to compressed iron blocks. That also might be something that we want. I don't know. So we have two possibilities. Well, at least one of two possibilities. We have one here that does a turbine blade. I don't think this is something we need to automate. If that's something that we ever want to craft, we can craft it manually because I don't think that's going to be used very often. The etching acid we've already used before. I saw that you can put enchantments onto items using the pressure chamber. This is something I didn't know before. So if you put in for instance, a diamond pickaxe and a book and you give it 2-bar pressure, it'll put the enchantment onto the pickaxe and you get your book back. Also, it looks like if you pull a vacuum, you can disenchant in the pressure chamber. I don't know how useful that actually is, but it is interesting. I didn't know that was a thing that you can do. So this is another thing that I didn't know about. Apparently you can make a floor with liquid antimatter in it. Remember our Magicka converter way over here that we made a while ago? Apparently if you do a spacious crystal with a floor of formic acid and liquid corallium with an evil tear, you can get a bucket of liquid antimatter. That might have helped us out getting that a little bit faster, but you know, I like setting up the Magicka converter anyway, so it's fine. All right, so these are the real important ones. So transistor, this is something that we're gonna need absolutely. The capacitor is something that we're gonna need absolutely. PCBs, most likely we're gonna need a whole bunch more of those, so that's at least 3 like absolutely needs. And then the advanced PCBs, I'm not sure how much of these we're gonna need, but I'm sure we're gonna need them. So that's 4 plus the compressed iron or compressed iron block. So up to 6 separate items that I'm pretty sure we're gonna want to automate out of this. So on one of these faces here, you can see we have 3x3 of just, you know, whatever. So we can like put all of these as the interfaces, right? And just have them always extracting one specific item. And then we could put like either, I don't know, interface like from Applied Energistics on the other side. So I'll just immediately put them into our EE system, or we have it go into different chests and extract using conduit, or there's a bunch of different options, but I feel like that's probably going to be where we want to go with this. So we need an interface extracting a specific items that this thing will create. And then for the input, we could just have an interface on here from Applied Energistics that is just pushing in the items to craft. I think this is going to be pretty simple to do. So really, I need to make a few of the pressure chamber interfaces here so we can extract on specific items, and then we should be able to automate it. For some reason, I was thinking the interface, the pressure chamber interface, you could only set to one specific item to extract all the time. What I failed to realize is that this you can set to an item filter, and you got 9 different spots to filter an item. I guess I was kind of thinking like the way we had it set up before where you could type in the name. Yeah, I was thinking like you could only filter one item, but no, you definitely can filter more than one item. So we have these different items that we want to extract out of the pressure chamber. And like if we look at the pressure chamber recipes, the only other things that we really want to extract that we don't have is an empty PCB. We don't have one of those on us, and we don't have an advanced PCB to set those filters. So those are things that we're gonna have to set in the future. So it might be worth having another interface here that we can manually extract stuff out of the pressure chamber with. I think that's probably gonna make sense. That way we can, you know, make an advanced PCB, extract it out manually, and then set it as one of these item filters. I think that's definitely something that we're gonna wanna do. So as far as this goes for right now, I think we're getting pretty set up. We need to have an interface, an ME interface on this side, an ME interface on that side for like the automatic extractions. And then, yeah, we can just set the filters to, or I guess we don't need to set a filter. We just have to have the interface here to push in the items into this interface. And then the filter is already set to extract out on this side. So we just need an interface to accept those items. Yeah, that's going to be pretty easy. So really the only thing we need to do is make those interfaces. So I just made a couple recipes worth of interfaces of these basic control units. So if we throw those in here, we should be able to do 2 interface, I do believe. Let's craft those up. And there we go. Awesome. That doesn't take super long. So we don't need that. We don't need this. And actually, we don't need any of those on us either. And then we are going to need some glass cable. Probably more than that, but that'll get us started for now. I can worry about the rest of that. So this will be our input, and then this one's going to be the output. And since this one is never going to contain recipes, I'm going to click this button. This will only receive the items that interface pushes into it, which will go directly into our ME system. So we'll go ahead and break that block out, and then we'll run some cable down like that, and that'll get connected up somewhere. And we need to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so we got some things in the way, which is fine. We can run cabling. I'm trying to decide what the best way to go under. Go around, maybe, what's here? Okay, so we got a thing there. Yeah, we gotta go under. Oops, that one's definitely in the wrong spot. And then this, we need to connect up. And then we gotta find out where we're gonna connect this to our P2Ps, which we can figure that out later. All right, there. All right, so those are connected together. Not really great wiring. I would like it to be straight across. Actually, we might just break out these blocks here, and we should be able to just run it straight across. There's no reason to not, now that I'm thinking about this. Okay, yeah, so we'll just clean that up, run that straight across, and then we can connect that to something. We'll definitely need to get ME connection over here. Okay, cool. So I got the wires all straightened out here. Everything looks a lot more clean, and then we got our ME cable running all the way over, connecting over here. I did replace the first connections off of our ME dense cable with a smart cable, so we know how many channels are being used down this path. And I kind of went around everywhere that we had ME connections like this. So we can see on the dense cable how many total channels are being used, and then we can see like which line is using the most channels out of this one. It just makes it easier to kind of like debug and figure out where you need to split off if you're using too many channels or anything like that. Anyway, so we went around, we did that. Everything should be hooked up now, and we should be pretty much good to go. So the next step is we need to make sure on our interface terminal here that we are seeing the pressure chamber interface. That's what I want to see. So now if we make ourselves a recipe for a transistor, we should be able to drop it into here and things should just work as it is. I'm pretty sure. Let's try it. So we want to do a processing pattern. We want to do one of these, one of those, go back to the interface terminal, drop this into here. And now if I tell the system to make a transistor, if we have everything in the system, we should be okay. And it looks like we have everything. Yep, it needs to craft up a red alloy ingot, but it should work. So let's start this up. So currently we have 20 of these, and if everything works correctly, we should end up with 21. Now the pressure chamber does take a second for everything to work, and I might need to go set the redstone signal. You know what? I did not do that on the interface that we have that set on. That is still looking for a redstone signal in order to work. So this is never going to empty out, but it looks like we did put the item in there correctly. So I need to break this. I need to set this to always active, and then we can put this back here. And when that reconnects with the applied energistics, this will go back into the system. We don't want this showing once again, and that should complete the recipe. So I would like to try this again and just kind of see what the speed is once this finishes. Yeah, so the crafting completed, we have 21. Let's try that one more time. Start that up. So hopefully that goes at a decent speed. I'm not really sure how fast it's going to go. 10 seconds or less, maybe. We're at 21. It should be 22. I'm not seeing it go. This is making me a little worried. It still says it's crafting it. Okay, so looking at this, I think I know what the problem is. Part of this recipe is a compressed iron ingot. So it started putting the items in one at a time. And then since we put in a compressed iron ingot, I think we're extracting it out over here because I'm not seeing it in this. So it must be sent back into the system. So really we have to change this once again. This is all a bunch of trial and error. Yeah, we can't do that. So we need to make it so we're only ever going to do blocks of compressed iron in the future. If we need to make compressed iron, that way we won't automatically extract out the ingots that are being used as part of the recipes. Yep, that's our problem. So let's do this. Then I guess I can see if this works. That should work just fine. And then I need an inventory to put that into. All right, well, a little bit more to debug here to get this to work properly. Okay, so now that's sorted, transistor, we'll give it one more go. We are no longer extracting out the compressed iron. This should work. This should work. Is it gonna work? It should work, but is it going to? It worked, okay. So we can do at least one. Can we do 10? We're missing these transistors. All right, well, at least we saw that we requested one and one was crafted. That's the important thing. Okay. So now that we have that done, I feel like we're pretty well set on this thing. Like, it's not a fast operation, but if we can request it and things will happen over time, I think we're going to be okay on this. Probably the next thing we should look at automating is going to be mechanism, because these transistors we need to put into the metallurgic infuser, I think, right? With redstone. And then that turns into the circuits that we need for like interfaces. So interface, I can't remember the name of these items. It turns into the basic control circuit. Yeah, so metallurgic infuser is definitely a thing that we need to automate as well. And then maybe try and get it into a factory. I don't think we can go all the way to the highest tier factory, but maybe like the first tier or something. So we can do like 3 at a time as opposed to 1. And then also there's the enrichment chamber. In fact, we should probably go through these quests here and start knocking out some of these. So like enrichment chamber is another one that's just right off of the metallurgic infuser that we already made. This does require nuclear furnaces, which is a lot of crafting, which applied energistics will make that simple since all of our items are in one place. But it's a lot of crafting in order to make one of these things. And I think we need 3 to 4 of them. We already have 1. So I guess my next step is I'm going to craft 3 more of these things. And I guess I will craft up the enrichment chamber as well. And this looks like a pretty straightforward, simple recipe. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get these crafted out. We'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and I made the enrichment chamber, and I have made 3 more metallurgic infusers. Now comes the question is, where are we going to put these machines? since we're trying to set up automations for them right now, we kind of want to put them in a permanent spot. We don't want to set up an automation for them and then have to like move it and then be like, is this where we want it? And then move it again. And yeah, it's kind of like we need to figure out where we're permanently going to put these machines and then build our automations around that. I feel like that's what we need to do. So in Project Ozone 2, we were using a black and white theme, but in this pack, I feel like green is the color of choice that we are using as just as some other contrasting color. So I'm thinking that we're going to set up things like this, where we put in a machine on this side, and we do machines all the way down, and then we can also put machines on this other side, right? So we have like these little banks where we have our machines, and then we have 3 blocks of space inside where we can run wires and pipings and things along those lines, so we can try and hide some of the different things that we're doing. Now, I don't know if we want this only 2 blocks, or I guess 3 blocks tall, or if we want it 5 blocks tall so we can put an interface on top. When it's like this, we can break out a block and put a cable interface and then use facades to hide it. I think we did that before in Project Ozone 2. It's been a while. I don't exactly remember what I did. But yeah, when you have open platforms like we have here, we need some kind of structures to place machines in. Otherwise, you have to place them on the ground and you got cables everywhere, and it just doesn't really look as good. Machines like this, though, that are a block and a half tall, I'm not sure how we're going to hide those or put those in any sort of a structure like this. We'll have to figure that one out later. But I kind of feel like this is what I want to do. Now, is this where I want to place this particular thing? I don't think so. The way these paths work is we have the 3 wide walkway, and then we have a border, which I never really changed the color. We could put those as green. We never did that. So that's a thing that we could do, line these with green colors so we have that color scheme, and then we could replace these blocks all the way around with green as well. That would be something else that we can do to finally add in like a border so it's not just these solid white walls. And then these, I think we want to probably remove this immersive engineering stuff that we had set up before, we're not really using, and then start putting these in permanently where we want them. I think that's probably going to be what we want to do here. So yeah, for the next little while, I'm going to go ahead and start replacing blocks around the base here with the green concrete. So we finally have some kind of a border block around. And then I'm going to set up some of these structures. And I think we'll probably just do the one for mechanism for now. And then we can add the other ones later as we permanently add the rest of our automations around the base. So yep. I'm going to take a little bit of time here, get some blocks replaced, some blocks made. Definitely don't have enough concrete for everything that we're going to be doing. But anyway, give me a few moments and we'll be back, guys. All right, guys. So I went ahead and I decided to make this thing 5 tall instead of 3 tall. I think it just looks overall better. And if we want to put interfaces on top of the full block, we can. And there'll be enough space around it so it's not going to look like it's off center and this and that. I think that is probably going to be better overall. So I did go ahead and I took the time to add in the green borders all the way around the base. So that's what we're looking like right now. My goodness, that took a lot of time to do. And I even used a mod, this exchanging gadget from the building gadgets mod. I used that to replace all of the blocks along the border. And even with this thing, it still took quite some time. If you haven't seen this exchanging gadget thing, this is pretty cool. You can shift right click on whatever block you want and it sets it, and then you can right click on another block to change it. So like this one, for instance, and yeah, it swaps those blocks out. So I can shift right click and then replace that back again with the green like it's supposed to be. If you press and hold G, you bring up this little menu here so you can do some various different things with it. You can set the range so you can go like real crazy if you want to do that. I was just doing one at a time. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things that you can do with this. I was just doing surface range 1 and just spam clicking each individual block all the way around the base. Yep. So anyway, we got that done. I had to set this thing back up over here to take the concrete powder and turn it back into the concrete. Besides the exchanging gadget, the building gadget mod also has A few other items. Yeah, like the building gadget itself, which you can make large platforms out of if you want to. There's a copy paste gadget where you can take a structure, copy, and then paste it. I don't know if I've ever used a copy paste gadget before, but I assume like if you have all the materials in your inventory and you paste, it'll, you know, do exactly what it says. It'll make another structure just like it. So I would only imagine if I use the copy paste gadget on this thing without the machines, I could paste a new one around. Anyway, I don't really care about that too much, but just thought I'd point it out that this particular item in Kappa mode, super inexpensive. In fact, I think that's the default recipe for it. Not sure if something like that needs to be changed anyway, but yeah, definitely something worth getting if you don't have it. Okay, so now that we have the borders around, we got kind of the structure that we want to do set in place here, we can now start looking at automating these different machines. Now, I was talking about I wanted to take these machines and turn them into the factories. It'll turn into more of a full-size block, so it'll be less stuff to render, and it will also make it so we can do 3 items at a time, at least at the basic tier. So if we do tier installer, we have 4 different tiers here. The ultimate tier is only used for, I think, the gas tank. You can put elite tier as the highest on machines. But yeah, the basic tier does require void crystal blocks, basic control circuits, and melodic alloy ingots per basic tier installer. The advanced tier installer you have to do in the blood altar. That only costs 300 LP, but it does require tier 4 altar. And then the elite tier installer is luminous crafting. You need the previous tier, and then you need all of this stuff, which is a whole bunch of capacitors in order to do it. So if we had a tier 4 altar, we could easily do the second tier. But, well, actually, we have a tier 4, don't we? Yeah, that's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So yeah, we definitely could just go ahead, make the basic tier and upgrade them to the advanced tiers, no problem. And I do believe you have to do a basic tier first, and then you can do the advanced tier. You can't just right-click the advanced tier on there directly. I could be wrong, but I think you have to go in order. Anyway, let's just go ahead and do the base tier ones. Let's get some of these made so we can get some things going here. So the basic tier installer is made like so, and now we don't have any more stuff. So we need 8 more of these control circuits in order for us to make the rest of them. Whoop. So we need capacitors, no, transistors. We only have 6 of those, so we need to make 2 more. So let's tell the system to craft up 2 more. We're missing these transistors. Uh-oh. Transistor. What does that cost? I don't remember. Can we make it? Ooh, almost. We need redstone reception coils. I'm clicking the wrong things here. So we need red alloy. We need 4 of those. All right. So there's that, this, that, done. Boom. And then transistor. We need 2 of these. Well, I have to put a recipe in the system to tell it how to make those. But the other thing is that does require these energized capacitors, which we're going to have to automate the empowerer for a little bit later. We're probably going to move the empowerer from its current location into a better spot. But yeah, we'll worry about that at another time. Okay, so the first transistor is done. Next transistor, please. There it is. Awesome. Okay, so both of these are now done. So we have those. So we need redstone. We really should only need 1 redstone for this. So we made ourselves the enrichment chamber, which takes a redstone or any of these other components that are used in the metallurgic infuser, and it increases their potency from 1 to 8. So with that 1 item, we get the compressed redstone, which we should be able to put into one of these guys, and that gives us 80 instead of the normal 1 that you get, or I guess 10. So we're definitely gonna need power over here. We don't have that. Let me grab like a Spectre coil or something. We'll have to get the power cables run. Do we have an extra Spectre cable? Or Spectre coil, I guess is what they're called. These guys. I don't think we need anything crazy. We're not like overclocking these machines just yet. We just need something to give it power constantly. Okay, so now we're getting the basic control circuits. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the tier installer in here. Okay, so tier installer is done, and then I can auto sort. So now we can do it 3 at a time, which is fantastic. I think we are gonna run. Oh yeah. Okay, so we need one more redstone. I was incorrect on that. One more redstone through the enrichment chamber. Redstone. Yeah, one more of these through the enrichment chamber, then we should have enough of the redstone in order to infuse. I think this needs just a little bit more power. Yeah, we're doing this kind of in a poor way. We will have power cables run to these machines and all that stuff. Eventually, we're still trying to get there. So that goes into here. This goes back over here. And everything should be happy, I do believe, once these things finish up. We'll also want to get some speed upgrades in this because we can make this go faster. Not only scale it in parallel, but also make it go a lot faster than when it's going. So we'll worry about that here. Pretty soon. I think the speed upgrades actually do cost more of those capacitors as well, the really expensive things, so not super easy for us to do at the moment. Anyway, tier installer, we wanted to make 3 more of these. Perfect. Wait, was it 3 or was it 4? I think it was 4 actually. There we go. Okay. Now that we have those, no, it was just, no, it was, because we can do it on this thing too. So this one, the enriching factory, we upgrade these guys. And there we go, awesome. So now that we've done that, we're gonna wanna turn the auto sorting on all of those. So when we put the items in, it spreads out evenly across all of the input slots. Okay. So probably at this point, we need to get the power cables over here so we can get these things powered. And then we can start doing things as far as applied energistics on them. So yeah, each one of these is definitely going to need its own interface as well. So I'm going to take some time here, try and get a little bit more of the stuff set up so we can auto craft. We'll be back. So one of the problems that we're having right now is we cannot put a spectre coil directly on conduit. So if we wanted to power all of these machines, we're gonna have to figure out a way to get power into the conduit from the spectre coil. So the best way to do that I can think of right now would be to just make ourselves a vibrant capacitor bank. That's a block that will output power, and I'm pretty sure you can put a spectre coil onto it. So we're gonna go and do that. Not sure if we should have used the vibrant one because that's a lot of octadic capacitors, but we'll have that automated soon enough, so it shouldn't make too much of a difference. I guess I'll just put this right here. That should be fine. Okay, so that had a little power in it because it was in my inventory. This outputs 25,000. How much do these do? Okay, so that's 20,000. If we need more connections, we can add more connections. That should be fine. And then we can just throw the spectre coil onto here like so, and that will power this up ever so slightly. And when we need the power, it'll be ready to go. Okay, so I think that is all set. So we're extracting power, and we're going to be inserting the power into these machines like so. I really don't think it's super necessary to change these connections, but I always do just so we know where the power is flowing. Now, the other thing is we're going to have these conduits exposed. So I made myself a painting machine over here, and I found a capacitor that we got from our loot bag. So this is an enhanced hiding wonder capacitor. So yeah, we can paint stuff. It should be at a pretty fast rate anyway. So we need to set the filter for that. Try to place one block. Yeah. So we're going to set the filter as white concrete. And then I have some conduit facades here, which should get painted. And then this goes over the Ender IO conduits, as I'm sure most people know, to completely hide them. They will just look like a solid block. So now we can do that. Awesome. Yep. So now we won't see that at all. So the next thing is we need to get interfaces here in order to start automating this process, but unfortunately we're running out of time for today, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Next episode, hopefully we will get a little bit more automation going. I would like to start getting a whole lot of things happening here so we can just start auto crafting and not have to waste all of our time manually crafting. Yeah, we're going to need to get some more of the crafting storages and look at the coprocessors. And I think probably we need to get the applied energistics processors automated. That's going to allow us to make more of the acceleration cards. We'll actually make our first acceleration card so we can start making things go that much faster. But yeah, slowly but surely, we are working our way up to getting some really good automations going. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.